Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching and Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channels. Obviously, Pro Wrestling Logic, what you're interested in, because, well, that's where you are. In any event, if you're looking for life, business, relationship coaching, you can come on over to my other channel, Golden Opportunities Coaching. I'd love to be of service to you there. We can set up a session. You can check out my website, all that good stuff. But this is the Impact Sacrifice review for 2021. Overall, not a bad show, and notable things happened, which is better than many of these shows in the sense that sometimes, and I do not support Impact being a brand that, as small as they are, still having monthly shows. It doesn't, no, it doesn't make sense. And so, anyway, um, but they did some things tonight that actually matter for future events, which I think is good. I think if they went back to the every other month or maybe every quarter, like AEW is doing for these special shows, I think it would do better. I mean, I can't imagine more than maybe 10 or 12,000 people purchasing these things at this point anyway. And I don't know how that's cost effective. Anyhow, so we move to Decay, Crazy Steve, Black Taurus, with Rosemary defeating Reno Scum, Luster the Legend, and Adam uh, Thornstowe. Um, I don't know. Not much of a backstory behind the match, kind of thrown together. Decay is a cool little gimmick if you like that sort of thing. Rosemary to me is the best of the bunch. Match does start with Decay taking control early over Luster, and there's a little bit more tag team movement than normal. Reno Scum cuts off Taurus for heat for a while, which Taurus, being a new guy, I don't necessarily agree with. Steve would have been much better to cut off. He's got more of a relationship uh, with the process of the fan base that they have. Um, Finally, Taurus makes a comeback and tags out. Steve gets a okay hot tag, but again, I would have flipped this around. Taurus is the more imposing of the individuals, so it would have been worth it. Um, Reno Scum regains control, and Rosemary hits the green mist on Luster for allowing Decay to pick up the win over Thornstowe, and Taurus Driver leads that. I don't know. It's This feels like a backwards booked match, but that's there. Um, anyway, um, so D'Lo Brown and Matt Striker, the best single team in broadcasting as far as wrestling is concerned in North America, um, easily run down the card. Then we go to another match I didn't really care about: Tennille Dashwood and Caleb with a K defeating Havoc and Nevaeh. I don't like intergender matches, so this is hard for me to even acknowledge. Dashwood and Caleb have been trying to get partners. It hasn't been coming together. Dashwood and Caleb have been trying to um, do this. Story of the match basically was Dashwood and Caleb had control as long as Dashwood's in the ring. Caleb does a bunch to help her, basically making her look incompetent. Dashwood has not been one of my favorite talents. I don't see what people see. So then when Caleb's in the ring, Havoc and Nevaeh would regain control. So Caleb Conley, who's one of the better people to come out of the North Carolina independents in the last 10 years, is being wasted here. And then Dashwood gets rolled up, only for Caleb to reverse the roll up. Dashwood steals the win. Match is really kind of throwaway. This adds to the losing streak of Havoc and Nevaeh. I assume that means that eventually they will feud again or return to not liking each other. Eddie Edwards goes to hype up Rich Swann for his championship match tonight, Unification. Told him he can make history tonight and at the Rebellion thing. I don't know. It was fine. Violent by Design, Diener, and Joe Doring with Eric Young defeats Beer Guns, Storm, and Sabin with Jake something. This storyline just feels flat to me, has for quite a while. Eric Young is the best of the bunch. The rest of them, James Storm used to be something. Sabin I've never gotten. At the end, this feels like a retread of TNA from 10 years ago. So Match is basically similar to previous in the sense that Diener's in the ring. Storm and Sabin have easy control, but as soon as Doring, who I think is being underutilized here, um, gets in the ring, momentum turns to his team. Doring um, manages to cut off Violent by Design. Doring manages to basically control things, cut Storm off from his corner, gets good heat on him. Babyface in peril. Storm escapes and tags Sabin. Fine hot tag, but Sabin and Shelley is far better than Sabin and Storm. Storm, to me, I wish would have gone to a bigger brand like an AEW or New Japan, but it is what it is. Jordan gets hit off the apron and he hits the guardrail. Dorian jumps in the ring and takes Sabin out, and Diener comes in, makes Sabin survive a little bit. Everything goes crazy at the end of the match. Diener and Storm brawl to the outside, Something and Young also brawling on the outside. Sabin and Diener take each other out. Referee gets taken out of this. Rhino gores Sabin, and he'd been taken out by Violent by Design months ago, so I guess this is a heel turn for Rhino. Diener pins Sabin, and Rhino joins VVD. Match was fine, but it feels like it could have been match 3 on a 8-match indie show, and okay. Backstage, Gia Miller interviews Brian Myers, complains about unsafe working environment as he's been doing for a couple of weeks now. He has adapted to beat Edwards, and Myers pays Hernandez some money, so apparently he'll interfere again. Hold harmless match, Eddie Edwards defeat Brian Myers. I would have gone with Myers winning here, just because I think there's more money in Myers than there is at Edwards at this point. I love Eddie Edwards, worked with Eddie Edwards, but he's done a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know that there's many stories left to tell for him in this brand, and I don't know. Match sees Edwards dominate from the early deal, uses good mat wrestling, controls until basically Myers tries to break every non-rule since there's a hold harmless here, attacks Edwards with a garbage can lid and a cookie sheet. Edwards makes a comeback and uses the cookie sheet in return, drops him with a superplex on top of a couple of chairs. Ouch. Near the end of the match, Edwards goes to put Myers through a table. Hernandez comes out to save Myers. Cardona comes out to neutralize Hernandez and leaves Myers alone for Edwards to go after with a kendo stick. Edwards hits a backpack stunner from the apron through a table to the floor, and then finish sees Edwards hit the Tiger Bomb and hit the Boston Knee Party for the win. Match was fine. This was weapons for the sake of weapons. Then we go to the Knockouts Tag Team Championship, Fire and Flavor. Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz defeating Jazz and Jordana Gace to retain the championships. Not sure where that goes for Jazz, honestly. Grace and Jazz became the number one contender several weeks back. Hogan and Steelz are really good as a team. Grace and Jazz obviously have the power and experience advantage. They can dominate each of the heels successfully in a singles environment, but when the heels work together, that's where the power lies for them. Heels cut off both baby faces at different times throughout the match. They use good double teams, and I honestly like the tag psychology of the heel women here. Grace gets a hot tag, goes nuts, pairing up with Hogan for several good sequences, back and forth suplexes, and power related moves from the female perspective. She gets her momentum cut when Hogan and Steels hit a neckbreaker and foot stomp combo, near fall there. Finish sees Grace go for a muscle buster, which is a move I still hate ever since it paralyzed Tyson Kidd. And then there's a crucifix bomb. Hogan rolls into a fisherman suplex for the pin. Probably the best match thus far on the show. Hogan and Steels are an awesome team, and I wish they had more variants of individuals to face. That would be good for business. Gia Miller interviews Moose about his match, and he basically just tells her to watch. Ace Austin with Madman Fulton, who, by the way, they're wasting. They were building him up well, and then they kind of dropped off. Defeats X Division champion TJP to become the new champion. This is a good thing. Austin's been asking for this match for quite a while. Probably another best match of the night. Wrestling transitions between submission holds, mainly applied by TJP. And then there's chain wrestling, which actually Ace Austin holds his own very well with. High-flying move sequences where he does exceptionally well. And then there's counters, and if you bring it back down, this is probably the best Clash of Styles match I've seen in Impact in a while. Match comes down to Austin nailing TJP, knocks him almost unconscious, and Austin gets overconfident, gets reversed into a knee bar for submission or near submission. TJP keeps going for the leg, stays on it for several minutes. And then Austin manages to turn it around with the double stomp, DDT, and the fold for the win. Obviously, they're going to fight again at some point. Austin is the new champion, and that is good for business. Johnny Swinger basically interacts with Tennille Dashwood and Caleb with a K, ending up with Alicia Edwards and Tennille challenging each other to matches. I don't want to see that. Anyway, Deanna Purrazzo defeats ODB to retain her title. This is good. Good ODB is a good gimmick. Not sure that I'd put the belt on her. She returned to the promotion back in February. Early interference from Kimberly on the outside, who seconded the champion. Referee sends her and Susan to the back, who also seconded the champion. Match obviously is Clash of Styles. ODB controls when brawling. Purrazzo controls when working on a body part. And she worked mainly the arm and neck throughout the match, specifically left arm. ODB manages to use her power. Basically, she lands a bunch of power moves, shoulder tackles, body slams, suplexes, and throws. Purrazzo, she takes her down, gets the Fujiwara armbar, transitions into the Venus de Milo, and submits her. Good Clash of Styles, short enough match to where it's not an insult, and there we go. Scott D'Amore books a 12-woman knockouts match for Impact. Oh my gosh. 12, why do we like these? Everybody, let's be friends. And it's an epidemic in wrestling psychology. We have these 6-man, 8-man, 10-man, 12-person tag matches that nobody cares about. You don't remember it. It's a bunch of spots, and it's just horrible. Anyway, Finn Juice, David Finlay, Juice Robinson's defeat and become the new Impact World Tag Team Champions. Good Brothers, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson. Story behind the match: two teams goes all the way back to Japan several years ago. It's been brought to Impact, basically, the Good Brothers have been trying to get their get FinJuice to be their young boys like they were in Japan. Match are is well done, hard hitting, paced like an American match, but still hard hitting, more like a strong style match. FinJuice dominates early. Um, Gallows and Anderson use power, cut Finlay off for a reasonably mid-sized heat. Babyface Imperial run. Tags to Robinson. Robinson comes in, and Good Brothers cut him off as well. Actually, Good Brothers look strong even in the loss here. Good Brothers fail to hit the Magic Killer. Finlay saves Robinson. Robinson lands his one of his finishes. Finlay gets rid of Gallows. They hit a Doomsday device on Anderson for the win. Capture tag titles. And then we go to Impact World Championship. Rich Swann versus TNA Heavyweight Champion Moose. Title unification match. Finally, they're getting rid of the stupid TNA title concept. It's about time. They did do a good storyline with Moose and Swann. Moose, self-proclaiming himself the champion's been goofy. Winner of this goes on to face Kenny Omega at their next pay-per-view, which I think is a Rebellion or something like that. Anyway, it's about a month away, month and a half away, something like that. Swann's layout for the matches. Moose versus a smaller underdog has worked really good for the story. Match sees Moose start with dominant and obviously using power. Moose is one of the better people that are still in Impact. Swann sends him into the ring post several times. Moose absorbs it and keeps coming. He's dominant. He's angry. Swann gets some comebacks. Moose cuts him off. Swann manages and hits a second rope bomb into a head scissors. And Swann manages to hurt Moose and finally gets some offense. Swann hits a cutter midair, and Moose kicks out at 1. Moose looks dominant and amazing here. Swann follows up with a 450 splash for another near fall. Moose hits a top rope avalanche Spanish fly for near fall. He gets angry. He goes for the lights out. But manages to go shoulder first into the ring post. And then Moose gets hit with a flurry of offense 3 times, but he hasn't been put down. Finally, Moose goes for lights out for what seems like the 4th or 5th time. Swann reverses it, rolls over Moose, and gets the win. Probably the best match of Rich Swann's title run. He'll go on to face Kenny Omega in the main event in the next pay-per-view, title for title. Overall, better than average Impact show, but knowing that a guy like Omega is coming, they have to pull out all stops. Anyway, till next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.